Supergirl is directed by Craig Gillespie and the film stars Milly Alcock, Jason Momoa, David Corenswet and Evie Ridley and many among others. And this is the second film in James Gunn's leadership of the DC Universe. Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, who travels across the galaxy on a murderous quest for revenge and justice. If you guys are wondering why my background's changed, well, I'll just give a little bit of rundown real quick, just keep it minimum. Just quite recently I had let's just say a family cat is going to look after for the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be using this as a temporary, just a room excuse to use because all the stuff in the living room is basically full of cat stuff and toys and kitty litter. So I had to use this from now on. But I'll just use it temporary. We'll get back to that when we're in time by end of July or something. But this is temporary, so let's just right into this. After the success of James Gunn's Superman last year, a film that I really enjoyed, even more so now after rewatches, I gave it a B+ when it first came out, but over time, it grew more to me and I actually enjoyed it a lot more, even on rewatch, even rewatching this before I went and saw Supergirl. I'm going to change it to B+ to an A or A-, one of the two, but every time I watch it, it definitely got better for me each view, and every time I watch it, there's a lot of things to like about Superman. It's very entertaining, it has a lot of heart, charm, and it captures the feel of Christopher Reeve's Superman, which I absolutely adored, and it's probably my favourite adaptation. And David Corenswet, wow, just wow, he is probably the best Superman we've gotten. But anyway, enough of that, let's jump into Supergirl. Going to this one, I was really curious about this one because after her appearance in the small cameo at the end of Superman, I was very excited to see where they take Supergirl, want to see where the story goes, and I heard it's going to be more like an adaptation or a loosely adapted of Woman Tomorrow, which that's what it's based upon. They're telling that story. And right into the bat, I wanted to go into this movie, wanted to like it. After being impressed with Superman, I was really curious to see what they could bring in Supergirl. After seeing it the other day, it was, okay, I'll just get into the positives. I'll go over the negatives soon enough, but the positives are, let's just get right to it. Milly Alcock as Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. She's probably the main attraction. She is very fun to watch. She got that same energy, she's got that drunk attitude. Yeah, she may have some weird personality, she is cocky, but she does have that something about Supergirl completely different from her cousin, Kal-El, aka Clark Kent, aka Superman. Kind of different from both perspectives. She does try to find some belonging, she tries to find where's her place in the world, which that's the most interesting part, which we'll get to the moment with the certain stuff in the film that didn't really work for me. But that being said, I think her character's really flat and really interesting for the most part, and her character development is there. You do get something with it. Evie Ridley as Ruthie, who's basically a new kind of a side character joining the journey with Kara, going on a revenge path to stop Krim, who's the villain in the movie, tries to revenge her family's death and he's trying to get revenge. I like the themes of revenge there, which I will get to in a moment, the emotional weight to it. I think what the thing is that the film does allow her to do. I think she's an interesting character. She's not like super interesting, but she does get the job done and her performance was fine. She was really good. She was fine with what she was given. She's not amazing, but I do really like her as a portrayal as that character. Another standout for me is Jason Momoa as Lubo. Oh my god, Jason Momoa, very good casting choice as Lubo, and hot take, I'd rather have him as Lubo over Aquaman. As you'll remember him, he was Aquaman in the old DCEU. So seeing him now in this movie, wow, he is just so fun to watch. Every time he's on screen, I couldn't help but smile and just have that. He has that really fun one-liners and he has some really cool actions and he is a bit of a badass in a way. And I think he does a good job with what he's given. I think he delivers it so well. And I will give it credit that he is really good here. As far as Craig Gillespie's directing here, it is really good and it is very well fine. I think there's a bit of a James Gunn influence there with the space and certain sceneries, but most of it does feel very well filmed. It is really nicely shot with cinematography, which we'll get to the colour grading in a moment with the negatives. But majority of it was fine. The directing is given, it puts his own style to it, even though it's nothing unique, his own voice, but his voice is there and I can see it. The action scenes are really entertaining and there are some fun action scenes. Some of the stuff it does look a bit choppy with the editing, which we'll get to in a moment, but that being said, the visuals looks decent. It looks alright. It doesn't look too bad. It looks clean for the most part. There are a couple of noticeable CGI stuff, but for most of it, it's completely fine. And also, David Corenswet as Clark Kent Superman, he is, well, as I said before, When you see him in small appearances here and there, even the flashback, which the flashback stuff is actually pretty interesting. But the moment you see Kal-El Superman, I was to it. I just remember going, oh, there's my boy, there's my goat. That is basically the thing I got in my face. The moment I see him, I couldn't help but smile when I see that character. And when he does that talk, inspiration talk, I just love it. It's just, wow. I'm honestly excited to see him again next year for Man of Tomorrow. I am excited for it. That being said, this film is, like I said, about how I feel about it. I found this film to be very underwhelming, if I was honest with you guys. This movie is a very underwhelming movie because the way I'm explaining it is that Supergirl does feel a little bit unearned because the way this film is made, well, it is nicely shot and there are some good cinematography wise, but the color grading though, it's just very dull, bland, and just very hollow, and it's very brownish looking. It could be more color to it because it just looks very uninspired. And I know I get the whole thing about comics, not every superhero film needs to be light in color, but you could maybe at least give something there I can try and get into, because I think this film, it just tries too hard to be dark and crazy and much. I could have been more color to it, and you don't really see Kara wearing the Supergirl suit not till the climax of the movie, which the climax of the film, well, entertaining, but it does feel a bit underwhelming. It just felt rushed to the third act. The emotional weight is kind of feel underdeveloped and unearned. As far as the flashback stuff, they're the most interesting to see. Kara's origin about Krypton being exploded, and then half it still survives in space. And then certain other people dying because due to kryptonite illness, like which we saw in the Superman film, where we saw is kryptonite poisoning. I forgot to mention that part. Krypto, he's not in the movie that much because if you've seen the trailer, he got taken out. He's cute. He's there, and when I see him as a wee puppy in the flashback, I couldn't help but just go, you cute little fucker. I love you. You're just so cute and you're just adorable. I just love Krypto. I don't know why, because if I had a dog like that with Krypto, I would just name it Krypto. I would. No joke. Back to saying, the flashback stuff is the most interesting stuff, but when you get to like the revenge stuff, it's very undeveloped and it didn't give you much emotional weight as I hoped it would, because the car stuff with her trying to find our people and trying to find her belonging, if she wants to belong on Earth or she wants to go out there, that somewhere is out there for her. That would be more interesting a movie itself than trying to find some belonging, which I think that would have worked better if you just focus on that story alone instead of just making it a revenge story, because the revenge stuff wasn't that interesting. It's very boring, and just the moment during the film there was really pacing issues with the film. It's like it was too slow and it rushes through things, and even the editing's a bit choppy in certain shots. But oh my god, everything about this film is just felt like it was just tries too hard to get the job done and didn't give much development or breathing room or not give you much time. It just felt tired and undercooked. And there are moments in the film that I did check my time a couple of times. I did check my phone out a little bit, see what time I got, and I was really starting to get bored. And there were a couple of times I just get done with it. And another thing is the script itself just wasn't that good. It's very basic, very weak, very generic. It's paint numbers of a superhero origin and also a revenge story. Doesn't do much for me, and I just felt underwhelmed. And I think it's due to the writing. I don't know if it's the writer's fault, or maybe Craig Gillespie's idea, or maybe James Gunn didn't get a chance to oversee what's going on, maybe, or Peter Safran as well, maybe didn't get a chance to overlook, because James Gunn did say in the interview that he wanted to make sure the project works clear, but I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it's maybe James Gunn thought the script looks fine, or maybe it's just something that thought, okay, let's just throw that out there about even going, I don't know, that would work. Because I think it's all about quality than quantity. That's what I'm going to say. Another big sore thumb in this one, the elephant in the room, as the villain. I can't remember the actor's name, but who plays Krim, the Yellow of the Hills? I think it's called the Yellow Hills, whatever the character's name is. Krim is one of the most bland, boring, generic supervillain I have ever seen in a comic movie. And he's right up there. In terms of villains that is so bland and boring, they're with Malekith from Thor: The Dark World. Remember Malekith from The Dark World? If you haven't, well, good for you. I don't remember him. He's up there. He's just as bland. His motivation's unclear. Yes, he has done some cool kills, but see him killing people or killing certain families or certain folk does not make him that interesting to villain or intimidating. Even though he's not that intimidating, he just comes across as cringing, and especially the way he looks. I don't know if it's the actor's fault or maybe it's the direction I give them, is that he tries too hard to be like making weird faces like like he doesn't sound intimidating. He sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon villain, like you see in your Saturday morning cartoons. That really drives me up the wall. I'm not kidding. Every time he comes on screen, I just let it go. Okay, what's your purpose? What's your motivation? What's your backstory? Nothing. He's just there. He doesn't feel like a main villain. He feels like a henchman or some side villain that a superhero had to go up against now and again to defeat the big one, the big baddie. But he doesn't feel like a big baddie. He just comes across as generic and bland as possible. Another thing I have to point out is the pen needle dropping music choices in this film. Now, I'm not against listening to licensed music in certain movies, which doesn't bother me as long as you do it right. Look at Superman, for example, from last year. Yes, they do have some few licensed songs, but they do it in a way it's serviceable for the story and certain sceneries. This one drops the ball. It just felt like it's just, let's just drop every soundtrack with a big battle scene or a certain scene that's happening. I'm not against the idea that if it's happened maybe once, I've been fine, but do it more than maybe 2 or 3 times, it just becomes a trend. It just becomes annoying. It just becomes like it was just trying to play some music. It's trying to be like Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think many people compare this film to. It's kind of like a mixture of both Guardians of the Galaxy and Mad Max movies. Like they're trying to combine them both. You had some outer space, but yet some weird, wacky characters. It has that feel, but the music stuff just doesn't feel earned here, and that is a big issue of this film. It just doesn't have an inked voice of its own. And as far as the music score, it's fine, but it's just not that interesting. I didn't find that memorable that much. I can't remember any of the themes. I can remember the Superman theme very well, and that's all I can say. I know a lot of people complain about this is the first film that James Gunn made that's completely bad, or saying, oh, this is the film, DCU's going to die, is it dying, is it over? Well, newsflash, guys. If you think that that's going to be the end of the DCU and Zack Snyder's going to come back and do the Snyderverse stuff, that's not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to read my opinion on that, but I said it before last year, even before that, I don't care. So it's not going to happen. You need to remember this, guys. Look at the MCU, not the multiverse saga, even though it has its faults, but look at the Infinity Saga for prime example. Look at that in that extent alone. When you look at the multiverse saga and even the Infinity Saga alone, Infinity Saga didn't have anything like 10 out of 10. What people say the Infinity Saga is consistent. Well, here's the thing. Not everyone loves everything from the Infinity Saga. I can go on the list, but you can name a few in the list that what Infinity Saga movies from the MCU hasn't been 10 out of 10. Not everyone loves everything from that saga. Even the Multiverse Saga as well. Say what you will. It has the same thing from the Infinity Saga. Not everyone loves everything. It's going to be the same thing for James Gunn from his DC Universe. Whatever this is, none of it is everyone's going to love these movies. Not everyone. There's going to be loves and people don't like. So there's going to be love or hate relationships with certain movies. It's going to be the same thing here. If you think that's going to be in the Supergirl because in the DCU, not going to happen, guys. It's still going on. We're still getting Man Tomorrow coming up. We've got Clayface coming out later this year. We're going to get Lanterns coming out in August. We've got many more projects coming in from the DCU from James Gunn. There's a lot of projects coming out. Like or not, this new DCU is staying, and we're going to have more to come. It same goes to the MCU. Whatever they have in projects after post Multiverse Saga, after Secret Wars, that is going to be something interesting to talk about. What's more to come? Stop complaining about it. Right over. That's what I'm going to say. My overall verdict on this film, it's a very complicated how I feel about Supergirl. It's just fine. It's entertaining. It has some cool moments. Milly Alcock is probably the standout, and she's probably the most interesting of them all, and she's the standout and the highlight. Jason Momoa is great as Lobo. I look forward to seeing more of him some point down the line. Some cool cinematography-wise, even though the colour could be more great, could be more colourful. But that being said, Supergirl is a very underwhelming movie. It has its moments, but I just wish there was more to it, and I felt underwhelmed. Is it awful? No. But it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But I wish there's more to it than it could be. Not bad, but there's a lot left to be desired. I'm going to give Supergirl a C+. Guys, comment down below and tell me, have you seen Supergirl? Do you love it? Do you like it? Do you think it's alright? Or do you actually hate it? Whatever the case is, comment down below, civilly please. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like this review, hit that like button. And of course, if you're new to my channel, if you just come across it for the first time, hit that subscribe button. And of course, hit that icon bell for more future videos just like this. See ya!